Hey guys, it's Kalina. I am sorry that I haven't really been making videos as of lately. The last video I think caught me by a bit surprised about my emotions for it. It was a little difficult talking with an older friend about such personal things in regards to bipolar disorder, but a good friendship came out of it, so I'm very happy I did that. Today I really wanted to talk about what bipolar disorder looks like, because there's a lot of stigmas out there from certain people that have a feeling that bipolar disorder looks a certain way, and I think a lot of people would be surprised and are surprised when I do mention that I am bipolar, because a lot of people have this misconception that bipolar disorder is they're crazy or they're very, I don't even know. I don't know what people would think about bipolar disorder because I've had it for so long that I think bipolar disorder looks like me. Just, it doesn't have a certain look, it doesn't have a certain act, it doesn't have a certain personality. It's just that person. And that person happens to have bipolar disorder, but it doesn't define them, and it does not define me. So I think the best way to show that bipolar disorder doesn't define a person, it just is a part of that person, is to just kind of talk about myself, to show commonalities with people that are watching this, if anyone watches this. But you know a little bit about me if you've seen my previous videos. I am 19 years old. I go to Texas A&M, and I'm obsessed, beyond obsessed, with Harry Potter, especially Ivana Lynch, who plays the character of Luna Lovegood. Random information, but I was diagnosed when I was 15, I believe, or 14, and I guess a lot of things have changed from there. I've talked a little bit about this, but before then it was a bit difficult. I was very rushed and upset and angry a lot, and I would get in fights. I would yell and scream when it was unnecessary to, and I would get very emotional over very unemotional events. And a lot of that has changed. Some is still the same. I still get randomly emotional about unemotional events. That won't probably change ever. Just part of me. It's a lot less intense now, but it is still there. And I still do get angry easily, but I'm a lot better at controlling my anger. I don't lash out at people. I don't try to get in fights, and I don't hit anyone or anything like that. So, all good things that the medicine has honestly helped me with. I never really thought I would say that, to be honest. I was never a big proponent of medicine, and I thought that only in the deepest, darkest cases do you need to be on it, until I was put on it, and then I found life was a lot easier. It felt a lot easier for me to deal with everyday things, everyday situations, anything really. To kind of talk about more of what bipolar disorder looks like, to me, bipolar disorder, I have type 2, so it's a little bit different. Of course, you have type 1, because I honestly don't know what that's like. I know what mine's like, and I know how it is for me, and I can describe it for myself, but to give advice, I could give advice to someone else how they've dealt with it, but it obviously isn't going to be 100% accurate for them, because everyone is different, and we all have our own quirks and personalities that make bipolar disorder a bit different for everyone. But bipolar disorder probably looks a little bit scared to me, because it is scary. It is scary to know that I'm not 100% in control of myself. And I'm a control freak. So I like to be in control, and I think because I just can't control myself so much, that's probably why I like to be in control so often. I believe it all started around 7th or 8th grade, the end of 8th grade. I moved to Texas, and I kind of didn't get with the right crowd. Not going to share a sappy story or anything, but I did start cutting, which is common, I've heard, with bipolar disorder, especially with type 2, because it's manic depressive, and that can just be hard. It's hard to deal with being that upset and that hurt and that emotional. And I found my release through cutting, and I am now recovering. It's kind of like, I guess you can compare it to an alcohol addiction if you don't know what cutting's like, because I will always be a cutter. I don't, unfortunately, get to remove that stigma from me. It's always something I go back to when something bad happens, or when I get really emotional, or when I go to my bad place, or when the medicine isn't quite right. It's just what I fall back to. And it's hard, but I have to rise above it. But that's why I think I get scared. I get scared because not only am I not controlling my emotions about happiness and sadness and making sure I'm perfectly in the middle somehow, but I'm also not in control of how I react to that happiness or sadness. I'm not. I mean, I am in control. I have my own choices, and I can make the right choice. But there's always something in the back of my head trying to get me to do the wrong thing. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Bipolar disorder also looks happy sometimes, because there's a reason, if that makes sense. If you have bipolar disorder, then you probably know what it's like to be so confused and wondering why you're so emotional, and why you can't control how angry you get and how mad you get and how much you just want to be done. It's hard, and to know that it's not you just being, I don't like using the word crazy, but crazy. There's an actual problem with your brain, and it can be helped. So there's a part of happiness in there, because there's also a community that you know you're not alone, and it's a pretty great community to fall into. There's this wonderful organization, I'm not trying to do advertisements or anything, but they help me a lot, called Bring Change to Mind. And Bring Change to Mind is about all types of mental disorders, and they really helped me and my mom figure this out when we weren't sure what it meant and weren't sure where to go. They're quite lovely. But bipolar disorder looks like a lot of things. Bipolar disorder can look like me, a 19-year-old girl who's just normal. I mean, I'm pretty weird sometimes, but I'm just a normal 19-year-old girl. And sometimes it can look a bit like Silver Linings Playbook, if you've seen that, where it's a bit more rushed and loud and excited and every emotion in 5 seconds. But that's just who we are. We're a bit more emotional, and we're a bit more off the rail, but we're people. And I think it's taken me a while to realize that, and I think it's taken me a while to want to get into this community. But I'm a part of it, and that's not going to change. It's a community that you're branded for life, but it's a good brand. So I guess my main point of making this video is just to say, if you're out there and you have a certain belief or a certain opinion on a bipolar person and how they act or what they're going to be like, or if you like someone and they tell you they're bipolar and you're wondering if they're a completely different person than you thought they were, they're not. I am just me. Bipolar disorder is a part of me, and I'm now proud of that part of me, but it does not define me, if that makes sense. I've said that, but it really doesn't. It doesn't have to define you. Nothing does, unless you want it to, and that's important to know. And I guess I just wanted to say to get rid of your stigmas and your beliefs and just realize that person is them and their personality is them, and sometimes they're gonna get a bit weird, they're gonna get a bit loud, and they're gonna be a bit sad or happy or anything in between, but every person does. Just it's a bit different with us, I guess. So I hope you didn't hate this, and I hope it brought you some ideas of what a bipolar disorder person is. But I also hope when you think, what does a bipolar disorder person look like, you think of yourself, because it could be you, it could be your best friend, it could be your relative, it's just anyone. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll try to be more active in making these. I haven't quite come up with a topic for my next video, but I'm going to try to make it this week, because I feel bad that I haven't been making them, and this is really something I was doing for myself. So the next one will be up this week.